welcome back to our Book of Boba Fett review. We're back with Chapter 4 of the Book of Boba Fett. I'm here. I'm your host, Braydon leadbetter.
Chapter 4.
Oh, look at us right here in this weird. We're never like this. Look at this. Oh, there we go. Look at us zooming in and out.
I know.
Audio
I was
listeners
saying
are
it.
just
I
like,
was
what
like,
the
"What are you
heck?"
talking about?" And then I was like, "Oh, you moved it."
Well, hi, Jackson.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm hanging out.
Is
How
that,
are you?
Is that the COVID?
No, actually, I'm past that. That's
good.
something else. Anyway,
Illegal substances. Dude, I really dug this episode.
This has been my favorite Star Wars thing Bryce Dallas Howard has done.
Yeah, G directed this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this one.
It was really fun. I'm really glad we got we had some questions answered in this one. I was really happy about that. And a little bit of a tease there at the end, but we'll get into it. We'll get into all of it. Don't worry, everybody. And if you're not aware, this is a full spoiler heavy review. So if you haven't watched the episode, get out of here. Go watch it.
Or stay. You can do whatever you want.
Or you can stay.
It's going to be ruined.
Yeah, that's very, very true. But anyway, I think it's time we just dive in. It's a 50-minute episode. So might take a little bit longer to get through, but that's all right. So obviously we open up back here. We're at the beginning. With the we're at the back to take tank like we always are.
Back to dreams.
And how do you feel about the transition they use to flashback with like the Matrix green? How do you feel about that? Because I always like get like an ick looking at it.
When I watch this show, it's either in my living room or it's on my 4K monitor.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a 4K like gaming monitor, which is like the pixels work different, so it's not as like pretty.
Yep.
So when it does it, it goes full like night vision mode, and like that's what it looks like to me. It's all like gross and pixelated. It was all right. Yeah. I did have a thought watching this episode, realizing like, what if the first 3 episodes were just like leading up to was everything that we've seen flashback wise, but like there was no dream. It was just like the show. I guess we don't know what the dreams, like why is that important to him? Because like, other than it just being memories and dreams, it's obviously something to him. Like it's the lessons he's learning, I guess.
I think they're kind of like, I think I said this before, but kind of like core memory-ish.
Yeah, I get that. And I guess like his line when he says it in the first episode, like it gives me like they're haunting him kind of dreams, and it's like what happened. But everything we've seen, I don't know, besides the Tuskens being killed, I don't know if too much of it has been horribly traumatizing. I don't know, almost getting eaten twice.
I know. Dude, let me tell you about this episode. Because at the beginning of this episode, I was like, oh, they're just going to like, Boba's going to meet Fennec and they're going to find Slave One. And I was like, yeah, that'll be about it. And I was kind of right. And then we got a lot of cool little nuggets in there. And I was like, oh, thank God it's not just like just everything we know of, just like, okay, they meet and they kind of
action sequence and it's done. What
I thought was really cool was the sequence when so we see that Boba runs across Fennec, and we get this kind of the end that whole Mando season 1 sequence that we already know.
Yeah, can I make a quick anecdote about that?
Dude.
I cannot believe that Boba just was chilling on Tatooine, not ready to get his ship.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I understand is that he needed the ship in order to go look for the armor, but like, he was there for like 5 years, just like chilling. Like, I think it's interesting.
Yeah,
that,
you would
like,
think that like that would be one of his first objectives is to
yeah,
get off Tatooine.
he should completely understand how Jabba's palace works, like pulling up and being like, "Hey, it's me, Boba." Like Fennec made a good point of like, "Why didn't you just show up?" And he's like, "I'm not as intimidating without my armor." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess, but like, you could prove that you're Boba. Only things that Bib, Jabba, and Boba would know, you know." Um, so
Yeah, I think
I just thought it was funny that it was like, the flares, the scene where, he first finds Fennec. I was like, what's going on? And then I realized it was that. And I was like, he's just been chilling. He's just been friends with this Bantha the whole time.
and there's a really funny thing he says later on with a Bantha. Yeah, I thought that was kind of like, it didn't really like put me off, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
it
it
didn't really
wasn't like
bother me.
ruining. It was just, I thought that was so interesting that
Yeah.
like that was the explanation, is that like during this whole time he's just been hanging out on Tatooine, and then I guess he gets word that Fennec must tell him that, like, I wonder if they'll explain him. I wonder if they'll bring back Cobb Vanth, if they'll like show him.
I think that would be cool.
I think that'd be really cool. Is you could totally have an episode where Cobb fights Boba Fett.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool if like Cobb kind of like fights him off and he doesn't end up getting the armor.
Right, like
that would be kind of cool to see. I wonder. Well, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's kind of just.
I needed to ramble all my thoughts to you about it.
Yeah. But when it comes to like finding Fennec at the beginning, and then he kind of takes her to this. They called it a mod parlor, and it kind of reminded me of like a weird Matrixy tattoo shop or something like that. It's like only appointments, no walk-ins.
I expected to see like Babu Frick like walk in and be like, "Who?"
Yeah. That would have been really funny. That would have been kind of fun.
They don't.
If it was Babu.
I think it's interesting that Tatooine is like doing this whole cybernetic enhancement thing. Have we seen that in Star Wars before?
I mean, yeah, we have. Vader.
Besides, but I mean more on the sense of like, I know that was a dumb question. Now that I realize it, but like in the sense of like even his gang of like.
No, yeah, I get what you mean.
Enhancing themselves, like the Deus Ex Machina kind of thing.
Like not for the purpose of necessity, but for the purpose of, oh, this is cool.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I did realize you were like Peter, and I was like, oh yeah.
That was the first thing in my mind. I was like,
so I think it's interesting that Tatooine is advancing in that.
Yeah, and we're also seeing like a different part of like even just the Star Wars universe of like these more underground type of people and places, and we've never seen like characters like this in Star Wars before, because they're very. I kept thinking like these characters are kind of like Blade Runner-y characters.
Yes, weird. Great. Yes, I completely agree.
Yeah, I was like, I don't hate it, but it's just like we've never seen this side of Star Wars before.
I dig it because I like that they're pushing weird to a specific like boundary, like Star Wars has been weird before, but it's like they're trying new things with being weird, and I really dig that.
Sorry, my mic got muted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, a little technical mishap. But yeah, I'm glad we're kind of taking these chances in this show a lot. Yeah. Because I feel like there are a good amount of Star Wars. I'm more referring to The Mandalorian, that I feel like sometimes like they have an idea and they're about to go with it, and it's just like, oh no, we got to play it safe. Like, I'm glad it doesn't do that here.
Yes.
But kind of one thing that was just like kind of funny to me was the first thing I said when they started like putting all these mods in Fennec. I was like, she's more machine now than woman.
Yeah, I loved the Fennec content in this episode.
I think for some reason, just this episode, I think Ming-Na Wen's performance was kind of iffy on me.
Oh, really?
I thought so. Yeah.
I thought this was.
I think it was the dialogue she was given was kind of like cliche.
I kind of agree with that in the like the conversation they have waiting for the droid to come back, the like spy ball. I agree, like it was kind of blocky and it kind of felt like she phoned it in, but I thought her like when they're taking the ship, I thought like her delivery was she was really fun during those moments. I love it when Fennec just absolutely caps people. Love it
so
with
cool.
without a fail, just so casual. Just I absolutely adore it. So I thought that she did really good at, you know, kind of showing that and then giving some quippy line, and the next
for some
time
reason the dialogue felt very George. So
yes.
at sometimes, and I'm just like, ugh, okay. And like it's nothing again, like it doesn't make me hate the character or anything like that. It's just like some lines in this episode I was like, I could have
See,
done without that.
I
It doesn't ruin it.
like that. I like that weird kind of like blocky Shakespearean talk that people in Star
Yeah.
Wars have. I think that's just a fun like quirk of it that like, yeah, it's they all have not all, they have laser swords and there's, you
And they
know,
shoot lasers out of their guns.
everyone kind of talks weird, but sometimes they talk normal and there's a lot of British people involved, but
I like that they're also just like allowing the Star Wars universe to just reflect our world.
yeah.
At this point,
Yeah.
they're just like, you know what? Why even
Yeah,
try?
I thought that last episode when they're talking about the price of water, and I went, yes, capitalism in the Star
Yes,
Wars
the gas
universe.
prices in Star Wars. But kind of moving on here, what did you think about this whole plan to take Jabba? Not I keep saying Jabba instead of Boba. I don't know why. Get Boba's ship back. What did you think about this whole like the little ball droid thing,
This
like the
goes
little
back
drone?
to my thing of like Boba's just been chilling because like the plan was kind of easy. Like Greg and like I thought it was cool seeing like the gear. I had this thought watching it. The gear Fennec has, because what we've seen of Fennec is that she's just a really good shot, and like in Bad Batch, she's just got action sequences, you know, like there
Yeah.
isn't a lot of like the tacticalness about it. And I felt we got introduced to that in this episode.
I like the whole Mission Impossible angle of
Yeah, like I thought it
scoping
was
out the
fun. Like, let's
place.
sneak in and like, you know, scan that many guards. I don't know how I feel about the kitchen scene.
Dude, I loved that scene. I love the little chef droids.
See, you're talking
I
about
will contact the rat catcher.
yeah, the
I
way
love
they
that
just
guy.
discuss to each other.
Yeah, I love that so much.
No,
And
yeah,
I completely agree with RFB here that Star Wars is best when it's told weird.
absolutely.
I completely agree with that. I think that's what makes Star Wars so cool.
Yeah.
Is that it can be weird, and that's what makes it so good. But yeah, I love the little chef guy, and I love the little dude who's running around with the net that came in. Isn't that kind of droid in the animated stuff? I
recognized it from something, but I don't know exactly. Maybe like
somebody
Resistance.
knows.
I wonder if it's in
I
Resistance.
think it's in maybe Clone Wars or Rebels.
Well, and the first droid that was stew in the pot. What else was he? Was he originally with Jabba's palace? Or is that droid? So I feel like we saw it somewhere. It's somewhere else, but I don't know if it's a Jabba's palace droid or if it was just something else, like a background droid. You know, yeah. I was like the dude that they pulled. Throwback 2005 Star Wars Battlefront playing a Jabba's palace map, and there's the dude that they're pulling.
Yeah, yeah. I also kind of liked that weird metal slicer thing that Fennec was using to like get through the.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was like an acid at first, and then I realized like no, it's
like a little electric knife.
Yeah, I don't know. Going back, like I liked seeing Fennec's tacticalness and her gear, and you asked me what I thought about the plan, and I gotta tell you, I cannot believe it was that easy just to walk in, and Boba's been scoping it out for the last like half decade.
I know, it's crazy, and I kind of love it.
Like it's funny. He's just like, I don't know if I can do it.
And it's just like
armor.
like I think it would be annoying if it was like a big hard like in-depth plan. I'm glad it was just like
let's just sneak in.
Them kind of just sneaking in and
yeah,
going.
let's go see what's up.
Because that is so Star Wars though. Because like Han and
right.
Leia and Luke never had an in-depth plan. They just went for it and hope that they made it, and they usually did. So yeah, I think a lot of stuff in this episode worked for me, which I was very happy about. One moment I did want to talk about those before they sneak into the palace, and Boba's letting the bantha go. He's like, "Go make bantha baby banthas,
roam the Dune Sea,
roam the Dune Sea." Yeah, I love that part.
I really enjoy this show at treating Star Wars animals with kindness and like giving, obviously, but like I'm glad that like they're just doing that in Star Wars when it's like compared to like Fallen Order, where that's half the game. It's just slaughtering
the only thing in the game. The only thing in the game is just slaughtering.
The point is that the Jedi hate animals and bounty hunters are PETA.
Yeah, kind of like going off for a second, but I tried to play Fallen Order again, like not too long ago, and I couldn't do it.
Really?
I couldn't do it. Trying to kill all these, like
hunt the frogs and
yeah, I just for some reason like I was just like, why am I doing this? This like doesn't even feel right. But yeah, we got the little guy with the net that he's running around chasing in the little kitchen or whatever that was. Yeah. And then I was kind of, I don't know if you agree with this, but the scene where they're trying to, break out Boba's ship and Fennec is kind of fighting with all those like the guards and stuff. I kind of found myself getting bored by the action. And I think it was because it was so repetitive.
I agree. I agree. And I think for me, I got bored because I understood like the next thing that needed to happen was to open the door, and it took like 7 minutes to get for them to realize that, and Boba spinning around and crushing things. And I was just like,
okay, dude, guys, just get the door open. Well, and
I think to a point that was intended, because like even Fennec is like, all right, like let's wrap this up. like next time we stick to the plan, or she kept telling him to like, let's figure it out, let's go. And yeah, I agree. It didn't need to be as long as it was, but like I think that was the biggest action sequence of the whole.
Yeah, and it didn't, episode, it didn't ruin the episode or anything for me. But it was just like something I was like, okay.
Like you didn't want to open the gate first. You just tried to gun it for the ship and get out.
Right. And I love how as soon as they did escape and they kind of like, get the ship out into the night, Boba's first order of business is to go attack that biker gang.
Honestly, best shots of the whole episode.
So cool.
The stills of that are really nice. I going back to that, when Fennec and Boba have their meeting by the fire, and he's like, I want to start my own family, and Fennec goes, the Tuskens made you soft. I said it out loud. I went, I don't know. You kind of just watched them slaughter a whole gang of Nikos. Like
that is such a frat. That is such a frat boy line too.
Yeah. The Tuskens made you soft.
Dude, bro. Those Tuskens made you soft,
You've changed, bro. That Sarlacc pit did you dirty, bro.
Yeah, I thought that scene was great. And obviously before that, I think is for me was one of the highlights of the episode, because I was like, what's gonna happen here whenever they go into the Sarlacc pit with the ship? That was crazy, dude.
Are we gonna kiss?
Yeah, well, like I figured he would just like start shooting into the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, we're gonna go get my armor. I was like, wait, is he gonna how is this gonna work? Because like I didn't expect that the ship would be able to like lean down into it.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck, dude?
Do you think Fennec knew what that button did? Do you think she just got lucky that like she pressed the bomb button? I got so stressed out, it just tumbling into the Sarlacc.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about the fact that she wouldn't. She
just found a button. Was like, I'm gonna press that one.
Yeah, that didn't even come across my mind that she wouldn't have known where that button is. Because I think I was just so like focused on the moment.
the jump scare made me like leap out of my chair.
Yeah, and I
knew
think
it was gonna happen.
I'm really glad that they're kind of letting. So I think that look of the Sarlacc pit is a special edition look, um, of like the whole like the Venus flytrap looking thing with
Oh
the
yeah,
tentacles. I think that's one of the special edition, like the one of the '97 like early special edition looks. And with it just having like the hole with the teeth is like the OG Star Wars look.
Oh, so it's
So they
both.
kind of married the two to where like they
Well,
can both make sense together. Like
there's like I've seen encyclopedia pictures of like what a Sarlacc looks like, and essentially like yeah, you're right. Is that like it is both like the top of the hole and like this whole like giant. It essentially has a really long esophagus, and then it like stomachs up in the bottom, but it roots out like a plant. So yeah, so I like seeing that in live action, the both different sides of that or live action, but like
no, I know what you mean. Like I'm glad they're marrying both the special edition and the the OG version to where like they both are there and make sense.
And I appreciate getting a deep look of the Sarlacc, especially in modern day. Like that's such a cool thing to have to
It looks so much better now,
revisit and see how cool and like in depth, because that was always the thing with Return of the Jedi is like, what is a Sarlacc? Like where what is that thing? And it's just a hole in the ground or what? Like it's obviously it's got a thing in it, but yeah. So no, I agree. I'm trying to think any other thoughts that I had during this.
The seismic charge bit was so cool.
It stressed me out. I was worried it was gonna like affect the ship, but
yeah, I was kind of worried that they were gonna like it was gonna go off too early or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that like it just dropped out, and I was like, how did Fennec gonna use? Like, how did she even know?
I live for that sound effect though. It is
right.
It like scratches an itch on my brain.
I like seeing it used in different instances because, like, the very first time it's in an asteroid field, whereas the second time with Mandalorian season 2, it's the TIE fighters, and this it's like it's underground now. Like this is what it looks like. I like seeing the different instances of what it can look like.
And I'm glad that Boba got his revenge on the Sarlacc pit too.
I know I gave a good riddance when it happened.
Yeah, it's because you can tell that Boba was like. Much better.
Much better.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the modern day stuff. Because funny enough, I think it was funny that the flashback ended, and I was like, oh, like there's probably like 6 minutes left.
I thought the episode was going to end right there.
I know. It was like there's 13 minutes left. Like that, not a lot can happen. And was I wrong?
One thing I did before we jump too far ahead. One thing I did want to mention was one of a quote that I heard that I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Is he's talking about. Whenever they're on the campfire scene, and he's talking about like the old Tatooine like Sand People tribe, and he's like, you can only get so far without a tribe, and I think that's a good kind of we talk about Boba learning all these lessons. This is this kind of thing where he can't do everything by himself, which is why he has like a Fennec now, and he's trying to get all these people on his side because he's starting to realize I can't do all of this
alone.
Yeah.
Well, and brilliant segue to him going off and hiring Chrysanthemum.
Yeah.
Do you think Chrysanthemum's going to stay for the whole time?
I don't know.
Do you think Chrysanthemum's going to die in this show?
If he does, I'll be like, fine.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a comic thing. Like he's more into that, but like I think it'd be cool. I love I love that they've introduced this character, and yeah,
I'm so glad. I said this before, but I'm going to keep saying it. I'm so glad they're introducing comic things into these shows and letting it all tie together and like giving you an incentive for reading the comics.
Yeah,
it's so nice. Anyway,
a side note to that as well. I've seen people talk about that this show might introduce Afra to the live action.
Ooh, Dr. Afra, yeah.
And essentially the protocol droid that they get is her evil 3PO.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember what her droids are called. But the two things that they need like match the needs of what Afra has, and it's just like, what if she joined? Like that's how she joined live action. Honestly, I think that'd be cool.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
Especially with Chrysanthemum, because I think he is more of a Dr. Afra like character. He's around in that. But I'm thinking about like who are other people that could join, because all right, I think Mando's going to start doing the same thing with his creed. He's going to start building another And like technically he's king of Mandalore, so I kind of wonder if like he'll just do that as like bringing in the Mandalorians, but like I kind of thought like, Cobb, Boba, Fennec, Boba,
Yeah.
And I'm blanking on her name. Redhead, sister Satine, Bo-Katan. Thank you. Anyway, I think it's interesting that like Boba's kind of doing it himself too. Like he's building his criminal empire, and it's just like the people he deems kind of worthy and successful. That like it'll be cool seeing a later game thing where it's like Boba and Mando have to do something, and Boba's like, "Oh, let me send some people on it because like I'm a crime lord now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can do that." Like I like witnessing this beginning of it.
Yeah, I think we still got 3 episodes to expand on that, so I'm really excited. One thing I did want to talk about was the whole Chrysanthemum like wrecking those Trandoshans.
Yeah.
Dude, the Trandoshans look so good live action.
I do really like
they look
how
great.
Look live action.
I'm glad that like they found a happy medium for those Trandoshans, because they've kind of just been like, I think in was it Return of the Jedi or Empire where Bosk is just like a statue?
It's Empire. He's not in Return of the Jedi.
That's what it is. Yeah. I'm so glad they found a way to, make Trandoshans actually look good, because I was like, oh, poor little Trandoshan whenever he rips the arm off. And that's also a good echo back to
I
Chewbacca.
Totally forgot about that. I gasped. I yelled out loud when he did it, because I was like, Chrysanthemum doesn't give an F. Like Chrysanthemum does not care.
And that's it's a callback to Chewbacca in the cantina.
Totally like crossed the threshold of my love for Chrysanthemum. Like that, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about this ending meeting scene with all of these different crime syndicates, kind of like on Tatooine, like the people who worked for Jabba.
Right.
What did you think about the whole? Because like for me, it kind of felt like Bo was just like, I'll rule with respect, but I think I'm gonna rule with fear first. And like the Rancor, comes up.
Oh yeah.
I was like, nah, I think I'll rule with fear.
I think I'll play a little joke. Yeah, I loved his little. I think he's a little hungry.
Yeah.
To me, this meeting, it took a turn that I really liked. That I kind of hope plays out is that Boba taking the task to take on the Pikes himself and like going through with it. I think that's going to be kind of his step into really, really delving into this. And I almost don't think like the other crime bosses like will intervene at all. Is that they just are kind of like, yeah, Boba, you do your thing, start a war or whatever. Do you think any of them will turn?
Yeah, I don't know. I
think it's the Trandoshans.
I think at least one of them, because that's got to be like, I think that's going to be one of the big conflicts, like towards like these last 3 episodes here.
Yeah,
are like,
it's like
he begs for all this loyalty and he doesn't get that.
Yeah. Well, so what is the species that they were kind of like, oh, will he say yes or not? The blue dude or the green dude with like the purple like Dracula cape.
Oh man,
I don't know what they're called, but
it's the same species, I believe, as Shizor from Shadows of the Empire. I believe. I could be wrong.
I'm not gonna look it up.
Yeah, I don't think it's that important.
But anyway, I don't think it'll be them. I think they will stay loyal.
The Trandoshans is a good bet.
Aqualish is, I think they're like, yeah, no, they're not gonna do it.
I think we will see a double cross of some kind, or of Boba. And kind of at the end there, Fennec has this line, credits can buy muscle, and then we hear the Mando theme before we cut to credits.
I cheered.
I think we're getting Mando, dude.
I told you Mando's gonna be in it. I'm still convinced it's his voice in the very first trailer. he's talking. I think it's him. Like there's a line of his, I think, like kind of spliced in, No, I definitely agree. Like I think Mando's totally gonna show up.
Yeah, I think it'll be like an episode thing. Like it's not going to be like
it's going to be an Ahsoka
season.
Tano kind of cameo.
Yeah, it's going to be like here's the Mando episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my question is, how do you think Mando is going to be post Grogu? This is the first time we've seen him.
What if he's like a lot more like ruthless?
That's kind of cool.
Because I feel like Grogu kind of like grounded him in like the way he did things, and like he kind of had a little bit more like of a reason to fight.
And do you think that because he's gone back, or he has like it has kind of like turned him emo? Like
yeah,
I guess what I'm asking is like, is he kind of like, oh, the baby's gone, like I did it, like that sucks that he's gone, I'm sad that he's gone.
That would be I'm sorry, that would be dumb.
Going back to my old
that was
job.
the case. I think it would have to affect him emotionally.
I think he's like crushed. All right, so there's been this Instagram lady named Kate Comics who's been making like a Mando like post season 2 comic about him dealing with Grogu, and it adds like this. There's like the dark saber is kind of haunted, like it's cursed. But obviously that's not like whatever. But in it, Mando's a wreck. Like Mando is a wreck about Grogu, and he cannot get over it. And any kind of mention to anything close to it, like totally sets him off, and he's just like just kind of broken about it. So I am curious if that's going to be the case. Is that Mando is not doing well.
And I hope they go that route too, going forward with like this is kind of off Boba Fett, but I hope they go that route with Mandalorian because like you just can't have 2 full seasons of just that relationship developing and building with Grogu.
And then what? Like, oh, it's the King of Mandalore. We're gonna fight for our planet.
Then he's just not affected by it. The next season, I think it has to be a huge toll and a big shadow over that season too.
Did he join Bo-Katan, or I guess he didn't necessarily expect Luke to show up to take Grogu, so I wonder what he's been doing this whole time.
Yeah. I think that'll be interesting to find out, because that's why I'm wondering, is Mando season 3 going to take place like, are we going to do a time jump?
I think it'll be kind of like an Empire Strikes Back time jump to
like
where
a year.
No, like 3, because
you're right.
The time between movies is the time that happens.
You're right.
So by the time Mando's season 3 comes out, it'll be like what, 3 years, 2 years since the end of season 2. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder who he's been chilling with, who's been giving him rides.
Yeah, or how because I think they're kind of destined to get in contact with Mando in this next season. I'm just wondering how they're going to do that, and how they're going to get Mando back to Tatooine and all that kind of fun stuff.
Right, like, do we got to go pick him up? Like, can
a friend of his Uber?
Yeah, can someone take him?
Can somebody order an Uber for Mando, please?
Mando, we need your help. He's like, cool, guys, I'm down.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna need a ride.
I'll do it for a little less, like 10% less.
Yeah.
And if you pick me up.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think if you don't have any more closing thoughts about this week's episode,
I guess I'll just say like I was really happy with this episode. I really like the steps they're going with the like modern side, the whole crime boss stuff. I really like that, but I am absolutely in love with the flashbacks. Like that is just, so far to me, that has been my favorite aspect of the show is that story they're telling of Boba just catching up. I cannot believe, hi doggy.
Yeah, it's Murph.
Cannot believe he's just been chilling for 5 years, but like and
there's a reason. There's got to be a reason why it's called the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, right.
Chapters of his life.
There's a middle section where Boba just like hangs out at campfires a lot with his giant dog, but it's cute, like it's fun.
I got a cute giant dog right here.
You do got a cute giant dog. Look at that little bantha.
Yeah. All right, get out of here,
All
Murph.
right.
All right, buddy. All right, well,
Cool.
I think my closing thoughts. I echo your sentiment, and I think we're in for a pretty fun episode next week. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm going to set down my expects, as RFB would like to say.
I don't think we've seen anything past this trailer wise too. I think everything that we've seen has been everything from here and up. Yep.
I think there's a reason for that too.
Yep. They always do the good stuff.
Yep.
For Christmas.
Well, if you'd like to find us on the social medias, as always, you can do that on Instagram at Through Imperial Eyes Pod, podcast pod. I don't remember at this point. Twitter at Imperial Eyes Pod, and on YouTube through Imperial Eyes Podcast. Jackson, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter. That's at Quackson Scaling. It's QUACKSON, and then scaling like the triangle. And then you can follow me on my photography Instagram, which is at Daleen Photography, DALEN_photography. Braydon, what about you?
And as always, you can find me on Instagram at braydonleadbetter, on Twitter at braydathlon, and see what I'm watching, see what I'm reviewing on Letterboxd at bleadbetter. And if you want to check me out on my video work and video world, you can check out what I'm doing over at Vat19 on YouTube.
What have you watched recently?
What have I watched recently?
What's your last watching?
I just watched, this isn't Star Wars related, but I did just watch a movie called Spree on Hulu with Joe Keery. To put it into a little bit of words, there's this kind of rideshare driver who's like really thirsty for followers, like he like does like Uber, but it's called Spree. And he like he's been doing like social media for like 10 years and has never gained a following, and he's finally figures out this plan to go viral, and that's by killing his passengers, like murdering his passengers, and like social media like completely embraces it, and like he goes viral, and like it's kind of cool,
kind of Black Mirror-y.
And it's shot through like cell phone screens and laptops.
Oh, that's fun.
Like those kind of cameras,
like brought. So it's like a found footage style.
Kind of. Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Searching?
I know of it, but I know what you're talking about.
It's kind of like that. Yeah. Okay, it's cool. Like any kind of angle you see is on like either one of his cameras or his phone, or
that's really cool. That's interesting.
It's really fun.
I might check that out.
I recommend it.
And I still haven't seen Spider-Man.
You don't know the spoilers or anything, or you do?
I know at least that they're in it, but I think one thing got spoiled for me. But I'm gonna wait till I see it.
Yeah, dude.
To speak it into existence. I just need to go do it. That's the thing, is I just haven't been able to go do it.
Yeah. Well, go check that out. Well, also, if you guys have the Spotify, the Apple Podcast, please make sure to head over there and subscribe, rate, review. It really helps us out and lets us know that you like what we're doing. And if you don't like what we're doing, do that anyway and be like, "Yo, these guys suck. Give us 1 star." We would rather you do that than do nothing. And if you want to check us out, we might do a news episode if we can squeeze it in this week. If not, we'll definitely do one next week. I know we said we'd do one this week, but it's been kind of a weird week for me, at least. And then we might have a little surprise coming this weekend for our 1-year podcast anniversary. Jackson, can you believe it's been 1 year since we've been talking into microphones about Star Wars?
Like it's been over a year. Like it feels weird that
it feels like a bunch of time has passed, but no time has passed.
I thought we started it in February, but I guess we really did.
January. Our launch date was January 21st. I remember making the logo.
How we've come.
How far we've come.
How we've come.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll be back next week for some more Book of Boba Fett talking, and we'll be we have a special episode coming out this weekend, hopefully. So look out for that.
Hopefully.
And until then, may the Force be with you all.